crashes short of the runway in LaGrange. The pilot pulled to safety by a state trooper.
Plus, they claimed to help people with taxes, but the sheriff says they were actually peddling drugs. Details on the drug bust at a local business.
Oh, it's a heaven sight. Heaven's Gate here on the Chattahoochee River and the banks. You can see a beautiful afternoon from our BMW Columbus camera. Your first alert forecast is going to get wet. Stay with us right here on Evening Edition.
Covering western Georgia and east Alabama, this is News 3 Evening Edition.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for trusting News 3. I'm Teresa Whitaker.
And I'm Phil Scoggins. A developing story out of LaGrange tonight where a plane crash has left one person injured. Reports say the biplane crashed at LaGrange Callaway Airport in Troup County around 2 this afternoon. According to a spokesperson with the Federal Aviation Administration, the pilot landed short of the runway. We're told the pilot of the plane was removed from the aircraft by a state trooper. The pilot was then flown to an Atlanta hospital for treatment of his injuries. His condition not known at this time. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the crash.
New details tonight. Midtown medical officials say the man shot inside the Kia plant Tuesday is now in stable condition. As News 3 has reported, Gary Swanson was airlifted to the hospital yesterday afternoon where he underwent emergency surgery. Police arrested 38-year-old Gabriel Rains, who they say opened fire on Swanson, who was his co-worker. Employees say Rains pulled a gun out of a bag and shot Swanson in the leg. We're told Rains then ran outside where he was taken into custody. The 38-year-old is being charged with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Authorities say he may face additional charges.
New at 6, Muskogee County authorities say that they have made a large drug bust after they seized more than $120,000 worth of meth from a Columbus business.
News 3's David Hurst joins us live from the Advanced Tax Service on 2nd Avenue with more details. David.
Yes, several-month-long investigation led authorities right here to the Advanced Tax Service here on 2nd Avenue. That's where manager is now behind bars. 46-year-old Clarence Martin Jr. is accused of having 2.5 pounds of methamphetamine in the business. Authorities say that's a street value of about $120,000. Police say they also discovered 2 guns after searching his Phoenix City home. Muskogee County Sheriff John Darr says a bust like this takes a significant amount of drugs off the streets of Columbus.
And that's why I don't say that lightly. That is a substantial amount of drugs that was seized. And that's very fortunate for people in our community. It's going to put a big dent in what's going on in this community as far as methamphetamine use.
Sheriff Darr says it's likely that the drugs were not manufactured here, just possibly distributed here. Authorities say it's not yet known where exactly those drugs were made, but this is not Martin's first run-in with the law. He's faced several drug charges, as well as a charge of attempted murder on a law enforcement officer. We're digging deep into his criminal past. We'll have more on that story for you tonight on 11:10 Central on News 3 Night Watch. For now, reporting live in Columbus, David Hurst, News 3 on your side.
All right, thank you, David. Martin had his first court hearing this morning. No bond was set. His case was bound over to Superior Court.
Another splendid spring day weatherized.
Oh, indeed. Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswell just has a smile on a day like this.
Yeah, that's why I used it on my iPhone today. I used a smiley face. I tagged out on that. If you know what that means, it means every time I said thank you, I put the smile face on there, and it was the sunny one, too. Look at us. We're actually at our warmest readings at this hour. Temperatures have now increased into the lower 80s, almost a line from Phoenix City southward. If you take Highway 80 from west central Georgia, east central Alabama, and just look farther south, there you have it. Everybody else in the upper 70s. A gorgeous day on the banks of the Chattahoochee River. The sun is now out. We had a period of some clouds lifting in, and we will see clouds lifting in the forecast in the overnight because there's a subtle change coming, and I'll explain. But until then, the air is exceptionally dry, so chances of any rain of substance or measurable rain is not upon us yet. It will be in our extended forecast, but those winds are northwesterly now, and we're seeing readings at the highest at 81 and a 48 chilly degree temperature. Did you hear that? It was chilly this morning, and temperatures are up in the lower 80s. It'll still be a cool start to your Thursday. The rest of the first alert forecast, it's coming up.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. Fort Benning says a soldier alerted emergency officials of a possible explosive device. That discovery caused the evacuation of 2 buildings today.
News 3 Sarah Panko talked to Army officials this afternoon about the incident. She joined us now with an update.
Bill Lisa, it all started this afternoon after Fort Benning posted a message on their Twitter and Facebook pages. It said the Warrior Transition Battalion and the area was being evacuated due to an emergency situation and that children at the WTB Child Development Center were all safe but being moved to another building. Army officials say a soldier misidentified a part of the electrical system in another person's car and alerted emergency officials. That person, who hasn't been identified, was helping the soldier with a battery jump. Now, the building that was evacuated, the Warrior Training Battalion, is where soldiers go to heal after being wounded in combat. Live in the studio, Sarah Panko, News 3 on your side.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Army officials say there was nothing in the other person's car. The all clear was given a few hours later.
The man accused of robbing a Russell County bank last week is now in custody.
As News 3's Joey Ripley explains, it's not the first time he's been in trouble with the law. Joey joins us in the studio with more details.
Yeah, Phil, Teresa, 33-year-old Levi Larry Maddox is accused of robbing the Auburn Bank in Hurtsboro last week. Sheriff Heath Taylor says the Hayneville man was one of 2 people involved in the heist. He says detectives got a tip from someone who overheard Maddox and the other person discussing how they would split the stolen cash. Officials would not reveal how much money was stolen from the bank, but do say Maddox spent about $20,000 shortly after the robbery. Maddox was arrested following a traffic stop in Montgomery.
I think he will probably be prosecuted here, and then once his prosecution here is complete, he will be extradited down to Florida.
Maddox has an outstanding warrant from Florida on multiple theft charges. He was then pulled over in a car similar to the one authorities recalled seeing at the bank. Now Maddox is in Russell County Jail. Russell County officials have offered a $10,000 reward for anyone with information, leading to the arrest and prosecution of anyone else involved in the robbery. Live in the studio, Joey Ripley, News 3 on your side.
Thank you, Joey. The sheriff expects 2 or possibly 3 more arrests could come in connection with the investigation.
The spirit of the late Philip Lutzenkirchen was alive and well in Auburn today.
The father of the former Tigers tight end speaking to teenagers today about the importance of making the right choices. News 3's Abby Knight was at this morning's summit. Abby?
Philip Lutzenkirchen was killed in a car crash last summer. Autopsy results later revealed that Lutz and the man driving the car were both intoxicated. Today, his father spoke to teenagers about how some decisions are truly life-changing. Last June, Auburn lost one of their own. Philip Lutzenkirchen, the star football player, was a fan favorite, both on and off the field. His father, Mike, kept Philip's legacy alive today when he spoke to teenage drivers about making the right choices.
4 years of Philip's life that was so critical to the development of who he was as a person and how they've treated my family, and it's paying it back to Auburn.
The message Lutzenkirchen wants to pass along to the students is the kind of person Philip was and how the wrong decision can affect anyone.
It's letting them learn from Philip, who was phenomenal in his character and his faith and his community service and willingness to pay it to others. But there's also things he didn't handle well that took his life, his last day on earth.
Alabama State troopers and State Farm reps were on hand as hundreds of area high schoolers participated in driving simulators that show how poor choices can impact drivers. Organizers say the best part of the day was seeing the reaction on the teens' faces.
You know, seeing these young people and when they're listening and hearing these messages about safe driving, to see what they're absorbing and then being able to hear them at the end of the summit, you know, tell us what they've learned, you know, telling us information like, I've never worn my seatbelt in the back seat before, but after today I will.
Since Philip's death, his father has addressed thousands of young people at events similar to this one, each sharing the same message. Live in studio, Abby Knight, News 3 on your side.
All right, thank you, Abby. After speaking with teens this morning in Auburn, Mike Lutzenkirchen headed to Birmingham for a similar event. Now, coming up on Evening Edition, tracking your fitness is getting futuristic. How new technology is helping workout groups be more accountable.
And new legislation designed to thwart cyber attackers, how it would affect private companies if passed.
A front from the north is starting to fall a little bit farther south and east, and with it, it's going to be a fast-moving disturbance. Don't despair, we're not looking at storms coming up. We'll have that forecast, but first, here's a look at what's coming up later tonight on WRBL.
An important child safety recall tonight. Trek Bicycles is recalling nearly 1 million bikes due to an issue that left one biker paralyzed. The issue is a quick release lever on the bike's front wheel that can interfere with the disc brakes. The problem can cause the wheel to stop turning or break away from the bike frame. The bikes are model years 2000 to 2015 and were made in China and Taiwan. Trek says it will replace the lever for free and provide a $20 coupon for bike accessories made by Bontrager.
In Washington, the House voting on legislation today designed to thwart cyber attacks by encouraging private companies to share information with the government about the methods of their attackers. Many companies have been reluctant to share such internal data, fearing lawsuits. The bill grants protection from liability if the companies follow certain procedures. A similar bill has been introduced in the Senate.
Activity tracking could soon kick into high gear as Apple Watch gets millions more people measuring their fitness.
Jill Wagner walks along with a group of co-workers who found a fun way to use their wearable fitness trackers to keep their feet moving. That's in tonight's Consumer Watch.
These insurance company workers are using their number crunching skills outside the office to help them stay in shape. They all wear fitness trackers, and every week they compare the data to see who has walked the most steps.
It definitely makes you step up your game a little bit.
Now that it's getting nicer out and the competition is heating up, I'm walking the Brooklyn Bridge all the way home.
Each week, the winner gets bragging rights. The loser buys the rest of the group coffee. Wearable fitness trackers have gone mainstream. 11% of Americans now own one, and analysts say with the Apple Watch in the game, fitness tracking is about to become even more popular.
The space is going to evolve not just to be fitness oriented, but more of a total wellness category.
Weston Hendrick is the director of Connected Intelligence for the NPD Group. He says by the end of 2016, over 50 million Americans will have some type of wearable activity tracker or smartwatch. Technology will grow beyond step tracking and sleep monitoring to include functions like stress management.
It's like the brutal truth, you know? If you want to get results, you kind of have to know and log and be able to monitor and measure.
For this group, seeing the numbers in black and white helps them stick to their fitness plans and walk the extra mile. Jill Wagner, CBS News, New York.
To give an idea of how much this group is walking, they average about 17,500 steps a day, or approximately 8.75 miles.
If your mower was working, you could probably do a lot of grass cutting tonight.
I'm leaning in and out because I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. You know, it's so essential that it's effective running mower, because if not, you're going to have to get a sickle, Phil. And we're all going to have to get out there and get a good workout. And that's a good workout, let me tell you. Well, will you need a workout, Phil, with this, and Teresa? And everyone watching at home? Not much rain with this next system, but we are tracking a bigger one. Stay with us.
Now, News 3 brings you your first alert forecast.
Thanks for staying with us. Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswald. You know, the First Alert Weather Team today's been having a lot of fun with this weather because we're getting a little R&R after this past weekend. And with this R&R, there always comes a little change in the future as it makes our job interesting. With it, nothing as dramatic as what we experienced this past weekend. In fact, we're going to see temperatures that are going to ramp up a bit, and we're going to see a front that comes through. We'll call it a weak front. I'll show you in just a moment. Well, this is beautiful. Look at this. We're seeing a nice release coming down, possibly from the dam upstream on that rain. And you can see the Frank K. Martin pedestrian bridge, or the 13th Street Bridge right here in the foreground. This is the Eagle Phoenix camera with sunshine and dry conditions. So dry that whatever disturbance we get tonight, in the nature of the way this front's coming in, we call it kind of more west to east oriented. It's not tilted, and it had it been tilted, we say northeast to southwest, we'd be tapping in some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, there's a disturbance behind it. The front's actually excelling ahead of it, so what we're calling it is a weak front. And that means we're not really going to see much action with it, nor will we see the kind of energy that we had back on Sunday. So don't expect a lot of rain with it, maybe a few sprinkles, that's it. High pressure still anchored at the surface, so the raincast models show us just that. We start looking at some energy coming in. Even though the model's not exact science here, there could be, with passage of some upper level air with very dry surface, would amount, instead of light rain, I'm going to use the word a sprinkle or two. That's really about it. Tomorrow, with breaks of sunshine or just overcast skies, we're going to minimize the warmth. You know, today we got in the lower 80s here in the last hour and a half. So we may not see that, but come Friday looking good. You know, if you've ever been in Uptown Columbus, we should have a good Friday night finally. Over the last 2 weekends, kicking off the Uptown Concert Series and much more. Well, there's the change that is behind it. It should not impact us on Friday, but in fact, Saturday, let's start looking at the overnight in the morning. As we get into Saturday morning, energy riding along that stalled front, and it's directed right in our area. Some showers, maybe a pop-up storm, especially by noon. Oh, yeah. Oy vey. Oh, okay, I'll explain why. There's a lot of events going on this weekend, but it is spring still. We got to keep that in mind. 58, increasing clouds, a few sprinkles. As we get into tomorrow, should not say today, it'll be tomorrow, it'll be Thursday. My brain is still on today. We're going to see partly sunny skies, maybe a few breaks and a high of 77 in your first look forecast, okay? So that's Thursday. And then in your next 3-day forecast, again, a little repetition, we give it to you. Best chances of rain coming up now is on Saturday in late morning and throughout the afternoon and evening. We clear on Sunday, but not completely. Not on Monday, not completely, but a couple dry days. And this is what we need. If we get rain, we need a break. And you give us some more rain Tuesday, Wednesday. That's good. That's a cooperative weather pattern, but not for the half triathlon, duathlon. We're going to talk more about that, but we're still going to hopefully get the folks out there safely without any lightning. Supporting Team RWB helps military men and women who serve our country to transition into civilian life, a nice portion of proceeds. And these are true triathletes who come from all over and locally. It's a lot of fun to watch. So if we get some breaks, we're going to keep an eye on this weather. So hopefully you can come down and support everybody.
All right, Bob, thanks. Okay. Sports Director Jonathan Husky joining us now. Auburn sporting a new and improved defense this year.
Expectations are high, I'm sure.
Yeah, they sure are, but I mean, he's a coach, so Will Muschamp says they still got a ways to go. We'll talk about that coming up. Plus, big news for the Hawks as the playoffs continue tonight. They may have a new owner. I've got that story. The Acura of Columbus Sports Desk next on News 3.
Time for News 3 Sports.
With the quarterback position decided, Auburn's biggest question mark may remain on the other side of the ball. Welcome into the Acura of Columbus Sports Desk. Fans got their first look at the Will Muschamp-led Tiger defense Saturday in the spring game, and that defense performed well. The first team held the starting offense to under 30 points, and some young players impressed in the secondary. Overall, Muschamp said the Tigers still have a ways to go, but he liked what he saw, and he thinks they'll get there.
You know, I'm really, pretty pleased with where we are at this point. We still have a long ways to go, but, as far as the attitude and the buy-in and the guys working extremely hard, we got a good core bunch of guys that work extremely hard, and that's huge in order to have a really good football team, but a good unit defensively.
Former Georgia defensive back Trey Matthews, finally eligible this year, was named Spring Game MVP. On the day of Game 2 of their first-round series with the Brooklyn Nets, the Atlanta Hawks may have a new owner. The group led by entrepreneur Anthony Ressler has agreed to buy the team for $850 million, according to ESPN reports. The deal also includes operating control of Phillips Arena. Speaking of which, it'll be filled to the brim tonight as the Hawks look to take a commanding 2-0 series lead over the Nets. Center Al Horford is expected to play tonight after dislocating his pinky in the fourth quarter of Game 1. Can I interest you in a Division I basketball signing? Well, good, because that's exactly what we had this morning out of Brookstone. Senior Hudson Terrell signed a national letter of intent to play basketball at Appalachian State. He said he thinks he may redshirt next year as a freshman, but has high hopes for his career. App State just joined the Sun Belt Conference, so Hudson will be playing soon against some big-time competition.
I felt like they seemed really interested in me, which made me a lot more interested in them. They seemed, I don't know, they were just really welcoming and seemed like the right fit.
Another plus, the winner of the Sun Belt Tournament gets an automatic bid into the NCAA tournaments every year. Over at Calvary Christian School, Jackson Sellers put his name on the dotted line to play college baseball at Point University in West Point. For him, it's a dream come true and a chance to fulfill a lifelong dream.
It feels amazing. I've been blessed with a lot. God's really helped me through the way. And I just played baseball ever since I was little, and this has just been a dream for me the whole time. I'm coming to compete and get a spot there, and if I don't, I'm going to be pushing the next guy in front of me to be the best player he can be.
Now, Jackson still has business to take care of for the Knights. Calvary playoff bound. They open the postseason next Friday. Also, some late-breaking news, more baseball news. Central's head coach Roy Dixon has resigned, so they begin the search now for his replacements over there for the Red Devils.
Looks like there's somebody on campus that might be interested.
Could be.
Never know.
We're coming right back.
Stay with us. Central High School in Phoenix City was the site of this week's MEA Federal Credit Union Golden Apple presentation.
As he has all year long, our Carlos Williams was on hand once again to present the honor, this time to Central math teacher Sarah Weber. Weber was nominated by Kimberly Schlabach, who told us that all during her career, Ms. Weber has exuded enthusiasm, positivity, and a love for teaching.
Weber has been a mentor for senior projects and has handled 2 small children of her own during her husband's recent deployment. She was surprised but ecstatic to receive the award.
It's very humbling to win this award. You know, I come into work every day and I'm doing what I love. So it's not like I'm trying to go above and beyond. I adore these kids and I hope they enjoy what I'm doing for them. And the person that had nominated me, I've worked with her for 4 years prior to coming to Central High School. And she's been a big motivation for me. She's one of my mentors and I'm absolutely flattered that she nominated me for this award.
And Central Assistant Principals Rachel Fowler and Antonio Griffin were on hand to help honor Ms. Weber.
If you know of a deserving teacher, nominate them by heading to our website, WRBL.com. All right, Bob, take us
That's a nice
home.
story. I like that. 58 degrees in the overnight. A weak disturbance comes through. We're looking for rain. It's not going to really be here until Saturday. Whatever we can muster up in the overnight will be a few sprinkles. Tomorrow will be more clouds and sun, unlike today. So we'll still keep it on the mild side, about upper 70s. We may see an 80 pop up in our southern counties tomorrow. The winds are going to pick up a little bit from the west, 10 to 20. There's a front coming through. And then Saturday, here comes the rain.
All right, Bob. Thank you.
That's going to do it for News 3 Evening Edition.
Have a safe and pleasant evening, everyone.
Good night.